Hey, all of you out there in Eorzea, welcome to She Heals, I Tank, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. Today is Friday, August 23rd, and this is episode 183 of this little shit podcast. I'm your host, Vegan Pete, and by my side, the wonderful, the lovely, the soon-to-have-a birthday.
Hey guys, Avi Ale here. How you doing?
I am good, Avi. I hope you are doing good as well.
I am. I had a deep fried Oreo today.
A deep fried Oreo on a deep fried Friday.
I think that, I think I haven't had one of those in 10 years. I was so excited. I was like, you have deep fried Oreos and I get it for free if I check in? Yes, please. And they're like, no, you're here for your birthday. You don't even have to check in, which means next time I go to that place, I can check in and get a free deep fried Oreo. Yes.
The best of plans when you're making plans for deep fried Oreos.
Yes, Chili, that is a thing. The Americas like to fry all the things.
At all the fairs across the country,
Yes.
It's just one big vat of oil for frying shit in.
Frying things.
All right. This show brought to you by awesome people like yourselves and these amazing people that subbed since last week. We've got first-time subs from Ukebox, Nessa Nahil, Nomad NP, Cascole, Misfit Gaming, and Sheepy2. Thank you very much, all of you, for those first-time subs. And then we got some resubs from Sir Dave Manelite, 4 months, Heavy Martillery, 4 months, K Maverick, 6 months, Vic X Ulf, 7 months, Sunwise Buddha for 9 months, Psyche Games for 10 months, Venjik for 14 months, and KK McLeod for 15 months.
Look, you guys, Pete listened to me and he organized them.
I've done that the last 3 weeks.
This is the first time I noticed.
Listen to the show.
It was hard to tell before because of the way you wrote it up, too.
Thank you so much for all of those subs. Really appreciate it. And really appreciate everyone joining us here live tonight at twitch.tv/SheHealsITank. Whether you're joining us live or listening via the podcast, thank you so much. I think we got a great show for you tonight. We got news out of Gamescom to get to, got a new seasonal event to talk about, and of course, we're going to be continuing our recap and discussion of the MSQ of Shadowbringers.
There's a lot.
But before we get to any of that, we have everyone's favorite segment,
Greenleaf Minute.
It's the Greenleaf Minute, and this week's question comes from our Discord Greenleaf Minute channel, where Ace Kaneki asked, can we discuss terminology used in-game, like weaving, clipping, GCDs, OGCDs, things like that a Greenleaf might struggle with?
That was a good question. Honestly, our Greenleaf channel in Discord has been awesome lately, as well as the people who've been answering the questions. And so we've been trying to keep track of any good questions or good information that's asked in there, because sometimes we run out of things that we can think of. And so it's nice to have, people come in and ask genuine questions. Or we're like, oh, I hadn't thought to explain what a GCD was.
And speaking of Discord, we always love taking your calls. So if you're listening with us live here right now, feel free to join that Discord. Hop in the On Deck channel, and then Avi will bring your ass into live on air. And we'll see what you have to talk about. I want to know what you guys are up to, because I have seen some people saying they feel like there's not enough to do in-game right now.
I understand that.
So if you're one of those people, like to hear from you. What kind of stuff are you doing? What do you want? So let's get to this Greenleaf Minute question, though. There is a lot of terminology that we could go over, but since all of those that Ace listed are mostly talked about regarding rotations, we're going to stick with those, and maybe another time we can go over terminology for crafting or gathering. If you have something that you want answered, be sure to ask us. All right, GCD stands for a global cooldown. You have many skills to use that are on roughly a 3-second GCD. Meaning that's the time you have to wait before you can use the next skill that's on the global cooldown.
OGCD stands for off global cooldown. These skills can be used sooner than that 3-second global cooldown. These skills, however, may have a really long reuse timer, some of them up to 6 minutes for the tank invulnerability skills.
And some will have a more normal 30-second recast timer.
Which brings us to
weaving.
Ooh.
Weaving is triggering your off global cooldowns in between your global cooldowns. You'll have more of these on some jobs than others, and for the DPS, the ones you want to be really concerned about are the ones that are on a 30 to 60 second cooldown, because you're going to want to use them almost as soon as they are up. I will give a little caveat to that.
There's always a caveat.
Because sometimes you may want to wait a little bit if you have another buff coming up that's going to buff the damage that those are going to do.
Even more so, yes. And that's something you can learn by looking up your class's rotations. And when you do, just a little tip here, when you Google a rotation for your class, make sure you're looking up like with the patch number.
Yes.
Because it definitely changes based on the patch, based off of the expansion. So you want to make sure you're not studying how to be a summoner from Heaven's Ward and you realize you're missing like a lot of your abilities.
Very true.
Totally different way to play the class now.
And thank you to Disco Cub for that Twitch Prime sub.
I like your name, Disco Cub.
And that brings us to clipping. And to understand clipping, you kind of have to understand what a dot is. Dot stands for damage over time, and sometimes an ability you use will have a dot attached to it, or the ability itself is a dot. Dots tick every 3 seconds for as long as their description says. So if it says it lasts for 21 seconds, you could get 7 ticks of whatever the potency is listed at. So you do not want to clip a dot too soon, which could also be said that you don't want to refresh a dot too soon. You want to refresh them when they have 1 to 2 seconds left if possible. You don't want to rob yourself of a tick. You're missing out on DPS if you're clipping or refreshing at, say, 10 seconds left.
This is like the only time a tick is good.
You want a tick.
You want the ticks. Yeah, because basically if you're casting your dot when there's 10 seconds left, you're using more mana or whatever, I guess there only is mana now because there's no TP. You're using more mana than you should be, which is allowing you to do less DPS potentially and cutting off those dots. And so it's kind of a balance between how much mana you have and the DPS and the time. So you want to keep everything kind of smoothly going together, which is why, again, looking up those rotations is really helpful. Speaking of rotation, if you don't know what a rotation is, for most jobs, there is a best way for you to hit your abilities in order to max out your DPS. Say most jobs because healers can get all fucked up DPS-wise, depending on if their group is taking unnecessary damage and they need to adjust to heal more often, which will affect what DPS abilities they're going to be able to get off and when, because the healer's first job is always to keep the party alive.
Yeah, and it does seem like, at least in Shadowbringers, they streamline the DPS abilities for healers. So it's not going to be a set rotation. It's going to be, you're going to use this if you have time to use this. And
yes, well, you dot things and you AoE things or you single target things. It's kind of that.
Sometimes your dot will run out and you have to heal and you can't refresh it right away.
You can't prioritize your DPS over someone else's life and there are healers who do that, but just remember, healers who do that that does more damage than you do. Even a bad DPS generally does more damage than you do, especially single target.
Yeah, generally. But we have run into occasions.
Right. Well, of course. There's always exceptions.
If you're parsing and you see a DPS not doing good, you can leave them dead.
No. Not even, no, never do that. That's mean.
Aww.
I've had that done to me.
No, you can leave them dead. You just can't say you're bad.
No. Don't be a dick. That's the first rule of playing MMOs, and it's the one that the least amount of people listen to. Don't be a dick, because especially when you're doing those dungeons and stuff, it's not like everybody's playing their main class. You might be learning a class. You just got it to 80 and you're learning how to play that class, and so your DPS isn't necessarily going to be at its best. So don't be a dick. Try to give them tips in a nice way and not a condescending way, and, don't be a dick.
DBAD.
Mm-hmm.
And you heard us say DPS. If you don't know what DPS is, it stands for damage per second, and that is how your damage output is gauged. Unfortunately, the game doesn't show you this natively. You need to download a third-party parser to see this. It's called ACT, which stands for Advanced Combat Tracker, and you can watch a video for that if you're interested on YouTube. It's a bit much for us to go into on the Greenleaf a minute right now. Also, DPS could be referred to as a type of job. Any job that isn't a tank or healer will be a DPS job. Also,
with Pete recommending you download ACT if you want a parser, you're technically not allowed to have this parser in-game. So if you do use it, don't tell anyone you're using it. Square Enix isn't like running on your computer system to see if you're running ACT. It's not about that. It's about people who use that information to bully other players. That's why they don't want it, because people do that.
Yes, you can tell people you use it. Just don't bully people
Don't tell randoms you use it. I wouldn't tell people you use it unless...
I mean, Square Enix knows basically every world first raider is, or not everyone that streams has it on their stream, and they know this. Like,
right.
They don't care. As long as you're not using it to grief anyone,
don't
you'll be fine.
Comes down to the main rule of MMOs. Don't be a dick. Sticking with that. That's the name of today's episode, Pete. I knew you wouldn't like it.
You know what I do like, Avi?
Yes.
It's the tweet of the week. It's the tweet of the week, Avi.
I figured as much.
And this week's tweet of the week comes from Discord and from Rathok on Discord. Realize this is a couple days late, but wanted to say the She Tanks I Heal stream Monday was fun. See how that was swapped right there?
You couldn't even say it.
Really glad that even though y'all have a clear brand, you swap roles or try out the other jobs too, rather than just heal or just tank. A great way to also know what each other has to handle/watch when you're in your main roles too, making you better on your mains IMO. And I think that's a good thing. That's why I tell people, if you are a tank main, at least level a healer, and you're probably going to find out something that you could do better as a tank to help your healer out. And vice versa on if you're a healer main, play a tank.
Actually, KK, I really like the tweet of the week segment. I just don't like the intro to it. KK said 1 week Avi just has to be super excited about tweet of the week and take the steam out of it. So this is our dual stream is what Rathok is referring to, and with 5.1 coming out, I'm going to lose my mentor status because I haven't leveled a tank. And so I was like, well, I'll play my warrior, which is level 60 because I got it to 60 and pretty much stopped. And then Pete played his white mage, what level was your white mage?
60.
60 as well. And I had, I don't know, but I had a ton of fun. And I think part of it was not just because I was tanking, because I still don't really enjoy tanking. I enjoyed tanking when Pete was healing, and then like watching him suffer through because the changes in healing, and then also with a mediocre tank. And then we actually did some trials roulettes, which I'd never done on my tank, and we had some friends with us, and then one of them was like, Liam went tank for me, and I was like, you can main tank and I'll off tank. And then eventually I main tanked one of the normal raids, and I only died at the very, very, very end, which I think I had too many stacks or something, but it was like I died. And
definitely wasn't because I wasn't healing you. Definitely not.
But then the boss died like 2 seconds later, so it was okay. But it was fun, and again, I like learning tanking because I can see what the tanks should be doing, at least for warrior, like in using your cooldowns and stuff, and positioning and understanding kind of all those different elements of it. The reason tanking is hard for me is because I'm a control freak perfectionist, and if anyone gets any like hate from me, or I don't have hate on all of the mobs immediately, I feel like I failed, and so I'm really hard on myself. So I don't like to tank because of that. So I know it's a silly thing. Pete's much more go with the flow with stuff. He's like, you took that one, you can have it, bitch. And I'm like, no.
I'm like, you son of a bitch, give it back.
So yeah, it was fun. But thank you, Rathok. I really appreciated that.
Now it's time for news and notes from around the realm. Avi, would you like to take this first one?
Sure. While you only have a couple more days to complete the current Moonfire Fair event, the new event will be starting soon. The Rising 2019 will hit on August 26th at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it will last until September 17th at 7:59 a.m. That is 3 days from now, which means you'll also have about 3 weeks to complete it, and this marks the 6th anniversary of Eorzea's rebirth with A Realm Reborn, which is kind of crazy. You'll need to be at least level 30 in order to take part in the event, and as long as you are of level, then you're going to head on over to Eastern Lanosia and talk to Pabiano.
Yeah, that's also the NPC that we had in the latest event, and when I was streaming it and reading all of the text, I just eventually started calling it Poblano because I can say that word.
Pabiano.
I'm like, you're a little pepper.
And you're going to pick up the quest Message in a Bottle, which actually comes from a message in a bottle. They have already shown us the rewards that we'll be getting from this event. The one everyone is the most excited for is a brave new Y'shtola minion, which is, of course, the new Y'shtola minion with her Shadowbringers gear. And you're going to also be able to get posters for all of the past events. There was a dev blog post as well. It's not super spoilery, but it does go into a bit about what you'll be doing for the event. So we're not going to discuss that because we know a lot of people don't want to be spoiled even on the seasonal events. But we will link it in the show notes and you can go check it out if you'd like.
And as we let you know, a couple weeks ago, Gamescom started this week, and we started to get some news from there. Let's go over some of the headlines coming from Germany. First up, we have some of the Q&A with Yoshida and Bonri Oda, as reported from the German site SpieleTipps. I think I said that perfectly. Will there be a Final Fantasy XIV sequel, Avi?
The two developers said there are currently no plans to develop a sequel to Final Fantasy XIV. Square Enix adheres to the concept of the game and wants to provide content to content and update the story about updates, says Yoshida. In short, currently there is no prospect of a new online offshoot, which why would there be with the success of Shadowbringers?
I mean, it makes sense to me if you were to have a little something in development.
Not when you have something that was just that successful. If it would maybe if it had been about as successful as Stormblood?
Stormblood was really successful. At the time, Stormblood was the highest peak that they had ever reached.
Oh, maybe you're right. All right, well, I don't know.
I don't know if they've come out and said if Shadowbringers beat that or not.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure it did.
Yeah.
Will Final Fantasy XIV come out on the Xbox One or Nintendo Switch?
In the course of this year's E3, there were personal discussions with Phil Spencer, the head of Microsoft's Xbox division. Square Enix has a very good relationship with the company. Although details need to be negotiated, Yoshida hopes to be able to send good news to players soon. As it seems, so is to be expected with a port of Final Fantasy XIV. About a possible port for Nintendo Switch, however, we did not receive any accurate information.
So, that sounds pretty promising, to be honest. And I hope they get it done sooner than later so they can capitalize on some of the Shadowbringers' good press that they've been getting.
Mm-hmm.
And that'd be a huge influx of players.
Yes.
That's a lot of Xbox Ones out there.
Because a lot of people have PS4, Xbox, or computer. Not everybody has both. If you have both, it's usually a console and a computer.
Yes.
And not all computers are necessarily gaming computers.
And yes. And because Final Fantasy XIV is an awesome game, it's all cross-platform.
Mm-hmm.
You won't be stuck on an Xbox server. Will the Viera and Rothgar get new hairstyles and equipment?
For both the Viera and the Rothgar, some new equipment and customization options are planned. They will be implemented bit by bit into the game, not all at once. Just give me my goddamn hairstyles.
And Twinfinite has some information about Yoko Taro's role in the new 24-man raid, Yorha Dark Apocalypse. It was asked what Yoko Taro's role exactly is in the creation of the raid Dark Apocalypse. Yoshida stated Yoko Taro is playing a really big role for it. His role is related to the overall aspect of the creation, like the script and coming up with content ideas. Bonri Oda added, The same goes for selecting the kind of boss enemies that will appear in the raid, and he is reviewing the soundtrack as well.
Ooh.
I don't know about that. We have a pretty good sound director in Soken.
Doesn't mean not reviewing it.
Don't want him to step on Soken's toes.
I can't see that.
And to really get fans excited, for fans of Nier Automata excited, Yoshida added, he also selected what kind of characters he wants to bring from the Nier world to Final Fantasy XIV. And that means you can expect the appearance of Nier characters. So you can look forward to that. The article goes on to say that we will learn more about the Dark Apocalypse raid at the Tokyo Game Show, where Yoko Taro will be in attendance. Something that has been reported by many outlets is that Yoshida has confirmed that the dev team is exploring the possibility of making it so you can visit other data centers. He can't give a date or even confirm that it's possible, but they are looking into it and would love to make it happen. I would doubt this comes before the end of like the 5.x patch cycle.
No, I wouldn't even expect it to come before that, but the fact that they're looking into it as something that's potentially possible is pretty cool.
Yeah, but like I said, don't expect it anytime soon. It could be something at the very end of the 5.0 cycle.
Mm-hmm.
But I would guess most likely with the new expansion. That'd be like a big
thing.
Selling point.
And now you can visit data centers.
Because there were a lot of people disappointed that they couldn't get on the data center of their choosing. A lot of people had to settle for Crystal. Not that there's anything bad about Crystal, but a lot of people wanted to play on Aether or Primal and they couldn't get on. Had to settle.
Yeah, it sucks. I get it.
Are you ready for this next segment?
I think so.
Trying to teach me some fucking lore.
All right, Pete. This question is not multiple choice.
No.
Question.
Crystal Dick.
Questions from Nessa. Question is, there are 2 named characters who are mixed race. Who are they?
Jeez.
And for bonus points, what are their jobs?
Like, can you tell me if these are like main characters, like scions?
No, they're not scions. They're like people that we went through the MSQ and had interactions with.
What expansion are they from?
One of them is from Heavensward. Actually, I think and the other one is like original. ARR.
That's too far back for me to remember.
You can describe them even if you can't get their names.
I am blanking. I can't remember anyone that's mixed race.
One of them might be part elf.
Like they've never shown any romance, let alone fucking in this game. I can't believe someone was born.
You don't remember a female character who was half Elysian? In Heavensward?
Is it a girl from the Alexander raid?
No.
Is it the Ysael?
No. Oh, one was Stormblood Chili? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, one was Stormblood. Sorry, you're right. Stormblood and Heavensward. I'm trying to give him the hottie because you might remember that one.
Fordola?
No. The other one was a female and one was a guy. The female was in Heavensward. The male was in Stormblood.
That doesn't help me at all.
Damn, the female was Higher and Elysian.
I don't recognize people by their race. I don't see race, Avi.
They're kind of so you don't see a difference between a Rogadin and a Lalafell?
Nope, look exactly the same.
All right. Well, all right, Pete. Then the 2 named characters are Hilda Ware.
Wait, I thought I said Hilda's from the Alexander raid.
Was she in Alexander?
Was she not?
I don't remember her being in the Alexander raid. She was in Heavensward. She was like in the Foundation. It was a major plot point. Yeah. In the
MSQ, I don't remember that.
It was, yeah. Hers. I actually didn't remember the other guy until Chili said Stormblood, and I was like, "That's who that is." Yeah, no, she was the Elysian who was half Higher and half.
Who's
Elysian.
the machinist from the Alexander raid?
I don't know.
I'm asking Chad. I'm not asking you.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I don't remember that. That was Mill something. KK saying.
All right. Well, another one I got right.
The second one was our Ehrenwald Lentinus. He was
Ehrenwald's mixed race?
Yeah. He was Higher and Rogadin. That was like a big part of him too. He was like a mongrel.
He's the one with the
Yeah, thanks, KK. I thought that in the Alexander, the girl was Ara.
Yeah, I thought she was Ara too. That's why I was confused.
That's why you threw me. I'm
why
like,
did I think her name was Hilda?
I don't know.
Yeah, Ehrenwald's the one with the Echo though, right?
Did he have the Echo? I think so. He was the big blonde guy who was a gladiator.
I'm getting confused.
I don't think he...
Let's get on to
All right,
stuff.
let me mark this in correct for you, Pete.
Yes, mark it as correct.
Correct. There we go.
I nailed it.
Like you do.
Let's get to something I do know about. Stuff I just played recently.
Okay.
It's time to continue our MSQ recap and review.
Okay.
And again,
There's so much MSQ.
We are taking calls, but Avi has changed the Discord screen so I cannot see it.
That's because I had to get the answers so you couldn't see them. Oh, actually, I want to copy those.
So it's time to continue our MSQ recap and review, taking your calls on it. Last week we left off with Master Matoya, aka Y'shtola, when she dove down into a giant sinkhole to save a vial of antidote to save a poisoned person in Slitherbow.
And we have a emote up for grabs in chat from KK McLeod, the Eastern Dance emote. That's a really cool emote, by the way.
Wow.
Thank you, KK.
Usually it's Chili dropping codes, but we got one from KK McLeod in there.
That's a really good one, too.
The generosity is spreading.
I love it. You guys are awesome.
So, she dove down the hole like a dummy. We don't have time to mourn Y'shtola quite yet, because we're alerted by one of the V that while Ranji and the Yulmorans have retreated, some of the Knights Blessed in Slitherbow have been poisoned.
Ooh.
Including the leader, and maybe Y'shtola's boy toy.
Totally ship it.
Runar.
Totally shipping it.
So we split up the antidote. Minfile and Thancred take some to Slitherbow, while us, the Warrior of Light, and Urianger head to the Viera town of Fanau, to where Runar is. Lucky for him, we arrive just in time, and he's able to recover fairly quickly with the help of some of Urianger's special healing magic, in addition to the antidote. However, when he comes to, he is confronted with the information that his beloved Master Matoya is dead. Or at least presumed dead. While we are all trying to come to grips with what has happened, we flash back to when she was falling down the hole, and as that was happening, a gust of wind shot up at us. She farted.
You're so
I can't believe that made you laugh.
It was I did not expect it at all. I was super chill. You're doing your like super serious reading the story voice, and she farted.
When we bring up this detail, it's Thancred that recognizes it as the fart that she used to get them out of Ulda. I mean, not
I'm a
the fart,
child.
the flow.
I'm a child.
The spell is called the flow, not the fart, which she used to teleport them out of Ulda during that fateful evening of betrayal from Ilberg. When she used the spell then, she ended up in the live stream, and we fear she is stuck there now. We don't know how we can save her because it was only because of the elementals that we were able to get her out the first time.
It's at this point that the V are bringing a person they caught trespassing to see if they are perhaps part of our group. Of course, it's Emmett Selk. As we catch him up on what has happened, he does mention that he felt a change in the live stream and that he only noticed the change happen once, which means that Y'shtola is still in there. He views the situation as essentially an opportunity for him to earn our trust, and he tells us he will rescue Y'shtola from the live stream because he's just an awesome guy.
I do like that the Viera were able to capture him. Like, do you think they actually captured him, or he like let himself get captured?
I fully saw him let himself get captured.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh no, they captured me.
He's like, this is kind of embarrassing. Like,
yeah, like that's him trying to play it off. We find a place in Yimaha. I feel like I always say that wrong. Ixmaya, I do. That is, I don't know, local. That has super good live stream juju, and Emmett gets to work. The entire scene pretty much consists of him closing his eyes, pointing up in the air, and with the snap of his fingers, she appears midair, naked.
Yeah, he didn't Thanos everyone.
Covered by light. But before the glow of light dissipates, so Pete can get a better view, Emmett Selk snaps his finger once again and glamours her clothing back on.
Once again, we are deprived of naked Y'shtola.
You will always be deprived of naked Y'shtola.
Not in my brain.
Or in like third-party fan sites. But yeah.
And you had questioned if there was any lore for her to be naked.
Yeah, because
I went back and watched the original cutscene of her being pulled from.
Of course you did. You're like, another chance to see naked Y'shtola?
Had to go check. And yes, when the Gridania, what are they called, Seed Seers, brought her out of the live stream, she did come sans clothes.
Yeah, and I looked up the lore, and it's because nothing can exist in the live stream that isn't ether, isn't alive, essentially. I still feel like it's lore that gives a little nod to partial nudity. Because I don't think it's something that is needed for the story, especially because he snaps his fingers and she's dressed again. So, not a huge fan of that glamour, or like I'm reading out that lore, air quotes, excuse to have naked Y'shtola, naked Thancred previously.
Yeah, I did look at that cutscene too, because didn't want to be sexist. Had to go look at both of them.
Super tan.
When she used the spell to get both of them out, she got stuck in the live stream somehow. I don't remember how Thancred just kind of got out of it, but when we met up with him in Heaven's Ward, he recounted his story. We don't actually see it, but we get a nice little picture of him naked fighting a bear trying to get some clothes.
Yeah.
And there's a little squirrel in front of his junk.
I do remember that was kind of amazing. Yeah, it's a little Terminator-esque. I think someone in chat made a comment about that. It did that, especially the Thancred bit felt a little Arnold Schwarzenegger from original Terminator. So just like that,
Badass.
Master Matoya, also known as Y'shtola, is back in the game, so I didn't spoil anything. Runar runs to her side and with tears flowing picks her up. And it's at this moment that we thought they might confirm that
I legit thought they could give a relationship here. And I think they missed out.
I think they totally could have as well. They didn't. They could have kissed. It would have been awesome. Nope.
It looked like he definitely wanted to.
I honestly still feel like I feel like there was a relationship there, but I feel like Y'shtola is such a private character that that's not something we would ever see. Like, I feel like that if Y'shtola is having a relationship, it's a very private and personal thing, and it's not something for anyone else but her and her partner.
No, I think they wanted to rub whiskers.
It doesn't mean they would do it in front of you.
I think they would.
Also, we've got a code war going on. Now we've got Chili sharing the emote for the Popoto step. So yeah, you guys, if you ever want to come in live and try to get some of these codes, we stream every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yeah.
Don't even have to buy anything. You just got to show up.
Show up and be fast with the clickies.
All right, what do you got, Avi?
Spooky Kitty in chat actually says she thinks the fact that Y'shtola didn't react like she did with Little Sun makes them think that she actually does kind of like Runar.
I'd be so thrilled if they actually add more of this going on. I don't know if they will.
I don't think they need to. I feel like there is something there, and that's for them. It's not for us.
As we know by where we're standing right now, we finished the MSQ and we go back to Slitherbow, and Y'shtola's there.
She goes back too, and she's standing with Runar.
She's not just hanging out at the Crystarium with everyone else.
She's like, I need to go be with my beau. All right. So you interrupted me. All right, so we don't get our kiss, and we all kind of begrudgingly thank him itself. Like, yeah, dude, thank you. But we don't trust him still, obviously, and we don't think anyone else does or should. But while we don't trust him, we're still wondering what his end game is.
And Nessa says they can never make Y'shtola be canon dating someone. That would piss off a lot of people.
I agree.
I don't buy that.
I do, because people want them to think that she maybe has a thing for them, in a sense. So, yeah.
But they will never give the Warrior of Light a partner.
Because you are the Warrior of Light.
Yeah, no.
So they'll never give you a Warrior of Light because you can ship yourself with all these other single characters.
That's so lame.
I agree, but that's, the way it works. So Y'shtola then reminds us that we still have a job to do. Kill the Light Warden in the Qitana Ravel. We bid farewell to Emet-Selch for the time being and head off to start exploring the Ravel.
And the Ravel is a dungeon. As we enter the dungeon, Qitana Ravel, we are met with some ancient Ronkin defenses. This actually isn't all comprised of pulling packs of mobs, but you start out with a single mob that has a lot of HP and actually has some mechanics, where you hide behind a wall in order to block AoE. What a concept, Avi.
I thought it was fun.
Adding mechanics to a dungeon, not just pulling mobs, that when you pull 20 mobs, they all have a little circle AoE to annoy me as a fucking tank.
Even in this
that
fight,
I have to dance around those fucking AoE.
They changed the AoEs a little bit in this fight, too, because they have like a donut AoE circle later on, which I actually really enjoyed because they kind of overlap and you need to find the little center of the donuts that don't have orange, and I liked that.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Avi.
Well, just saying, you're bitchy.
No, so this, there's actually mechanics, and there's only one mob to start off with. It's a little mini boss gatekeeper type thing, and I liked it. I think they should do more unique things like this, because I don't like pulling packs of mobs where everything has AoE and I have to just dance around the whole time.
It was a nice change of pace.
The first boss you get to is Lozatl, Lozatl, don't know how to pronounce that, who is a big hulking beast.
Lozatl.
Resembles a gorilla. It's kind of a reskinned gorilla
kind of
mob.
Definitely.
Has some weird shit on its shoulders. but seems to be made of stone.
Mm-hmm.
The important thing to look for here is that at points he will heat up and one of his shoulders will start glowing, and you want to be on the opposite side of that shoulder.
Cause he smash.
Yeah, there wasn't much to that fight other than that, so not that interesting, I would say.
Well, he smashed, and then there was the pillars also lit up the side of the room at the same time. So they did like he smashed, pillar light up. Now he smashed, pillar light up at the same time. It's kind of like basics for getting into like savage content and stuff, like how it adds one, adds
I don't
another.
know about savage content.
Well, just harder content.
Maybe getting you to do some of those extreme trials.
Maybe extreme, yeah. Like I was like basic.
I couldn't find much lore about Lazadal, but there is a fish by the same name called the Lazadal Pirarucu. The fish is described as follows. Named after a stone giant from Ronkin legend due to its prodigious size. In ancient times, these wavekin were often offered to the imperial household as tribute. The master of the waters lying before the throne, representing the emperor's dominion overall.
Ooh. After taking down Lazadal, we end up in a cave system fighting animals such as anacondas, iguanas, and gators. Oh my. These caves lead us to the second boss.
Oh, and this boss deserves a audio welcome.
I thought you were literally just going to hit the button.
Squatch.
You're such a dork.
It's a bat squatch.
I seriously should have cut that so much shorter.
I expected you to dance during it.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have to tell me that you expect me to dance during it. If you played it for me like 6 times before the podcast.
Play that, your natural reaction should be to dance.
Oh, okay.
Get up and do a little.
A little what? Can you show me how that went again?
Little. You know what I mean.
No, I don't. You have to like. I actually need some instruction.
No. I already did it. Had to be watching the stream to see.
I love that this is called Bat Squatch. He's like a giant Sasquatch merged with a bat, and he's wearing like a blindfold because he uses sounds, supersonic sounds and stuff. And I love it. I'm like, every time I see him, I'm like, it's Bat Squatch. So I actually like that you did the little.
Yeah, and besides a Bat Squatch IPA from Rogue Brewing, I couldn't find any lore on the Bat Squatch.
It's just awesome.
But the name of the game of this fight is pretty much just avoid AoE. The gimmick is that there will be pillars that pop up, and after the Bat Squatch does supersonic, they will fall and give you a debuff and do big dick DPS damage to you.
Dad ass DPS. I thought we had a conversation about this.
No. I don't think it was dad ass. I think it was much more vulgar than that.
No, dad ass was the equality.
Oh yeah, that was the
version.
equality.
That
one,
was my favorite
but
one.
we came up with one that was female oriented too.
But I liked the dad ass DPS better,
which was called Big Clit DPS.
I didn't like that one. I like dad ass DPS.
All the other women did.
What other women?
That was from Krev. She suggested it.
So one other woman.
It got a lot of votes.
I don't remember there being votes. I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyways, after we beat up that bat with that ass DPS, we come to an area called the Ratika Falls, which had been referenced in the MSQ as where the Light Warden could be hiding. It is really a beautiful area, but it has been taken over by Sin Eaters. We fight our way to the final boss of the dungeon, who is Light Warden Eros. And the lore I found for this was actually on a triple triad card. The Light Warden of the Ratika Greatwood, a chimeric monstrosity, Eros was thought to be the amalgamation of several unfortunate creatures that were caught up and fused together by the flood of light.
Aww.
The meaning of its name, romantic love, is a mocking play on the intimate and uncontrolled embrace, which it resulted in its present appearance. Kind of sad, huh?
Yeah. Poor Chimera.
Look at that. Triple Triad giving us lore.
I like it.
So yeah, this Chimera has a monkey head in the middle, flanked by 2 tiger heads. It's a pretty fun fight. I guess the trickiest part is when the puddles appear that you need to avoid, and there's also a knockback going off at the same time. It was a bit fun, but other than that, I can't remember anything that was too unique to mechanics wise.
No,
anyway,
not really.
and you ran this much more than I have because you were actually farming some gear in this.
It's so pretty. I love the gear in this dungeon, actually. I love all the gear in this dungeon. So, yes, I'm very familiar with this dungeon.
What were you farming for? What did you like about the gear? What gear were you going for?
I was predominantly going for the healer chest piece. But I also want to eventually go back and get the tank chest piece as well as the caster chest piece. And I have the dancer chest piece. I also want the dancer legs and the gloves and the headpieces. I want the full sets.
And confirmation in chat by Rel says, side note, the fashion of this dungeon is awesome on all classes.
Every class. Varel, she was one of the people who was farming the hell out of that with me. And they're like, really? The tank set is good? I'm like, oh my God, yes. And we linked it. They're like, I'm down. Like it was fun.
Was it still fun when you were running it that often, or were you tired of it by the end of it?
I liked healing Vi. She was a really fun tank to heal on that. When I ran it with like a pug tank, it wasn't as fun. But I liked it with we had a good synergy together.
It always helps when you have someone that knows what they're doing.
When I was healing, so I was also leveling at the same time we were running it. It was experience for me, and so I was really enjoying it. Spooky Kitty asked if it's good on males. Not Lalafels at all.
Doesn't that go for all gear?
And if you guys are in where we are, the what is this place called?
Slitherbow.
All of the characters around us are wearing the healer and the caster sets. So on screen you can see Runar wearing the caster healer set. And then if you go to where the V are, they are wearing the melee set, and V is in chat or in video as well, and she is actually wearing the tank set. So we've got a good representation of most of the gear. And I can change. Oh no, I cannot change it because it's
you
a
don't
glamour.
need to do that right now.
It takes me 5 seconds. You little blah.
So we hadn't really discussed the faux death scene of Y'shtola.
Oh, that's
so
right.
I want to go back to that really quickly before we move on.
Okay.
Was anyone... Did anyone think for a second that she could actually be dead?
I'm saying yes, they did because they got mad at me. And I didn't think she did for a moment. No, that's why I thought my joke was funny, but it wasn't funny because people believed it, and then they heard our podcast at that point. And they're like, "Oh my God, they actually kill!" Like, no, they'll never kill her. She will never die. That's the joke. I will make Y'shtola die jokes forever because she will never die. If she actually dies, you'll know because I won't make a Y'shtola die joke. That's how you'll know.
I hope Yoshi P hears this and he's like, I'm going to kill that bitch. Next expansion.
I think Y'shtola is his favorite. Why do you think she's the only one who gets custom outfits every time?
She's got more
minions,
plot armor and goodwill from the devs.
She's
than
in the
anyone.
other game too.
She's the ambassador of Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, she represents 14. Like, she is never, ever going to die. No, she's never. Then they're not going to offer him 5.1, you guys. If they did, I'd actually be impressed.
There would be a nerd riot.
I love Y'shtola, but I would be so devastated if they killed her that I would actually be proud of Square Enix for making me feel like I would actually get on the train of people who are upset about characters dying. Like, I would love that because I would love how much I would feel. Like, I would cry so hard and I would be so mad, and I think that's a good thing that storytellers do.
Yes, I don't think they ever will.
No, they won't.
If they do, and they do it in a surprising way.
Chad's just scared. People are like, don't say never. They might do it. No, they're not going to do it.
But there's no fucking way she's going out diving into a hole. Okay, so the first of it, she's going to have, if she dies, she's getting the most badass death scene you have ever seen.
She's saving the world. Okay, guys, the world, not a couple of people who were poisoned.
At that point, it was only one person that was poisoned. She didn't even know about Runar. It was just that one prisoner.
I thought it was a few.
That they had dropped off while they were waiting for people to defect.
Yeah, it was not. She's just, no.
At least if they would have made Runar the one to be sick that she knew about, then maybe it's sort of possible.
It would, but then it wouldn't have been as selfless. It wouldn't have seemed as selfless because she would have been doing it for someone she loved versus a random person. It's more selfless if it's a person you don't care about.
See, I didn't even consider it selfless. I'm just like, this bitch is dumb. Why'd she do that?
Because she's selfless and she cares about other people.
You got to think of the bigger picture. We're on a fucking mission here. We need to kill some Light Wardens. We need your help. Can't be diving into holes to save some red shirt.
That's what she does. She's a red shirt saver.
That's my problem with Y'shtola. Trying to save no one's.
All right, getting back to the story, Pete.
Wait, I actually have a couple more questions.
Oh, God. Okay.
Okay, so no one really believed that she was dead.
Some people did.
And if you did,
I'm sorry.
try to think better next time.
God,
Use that big brain.
You're so mean.
Emmett Silk
Okay.
walks up and revives her, brings her out of the live stream. Wants nothing, or at least says doesn't want anything returned, only looking to gain our trust.
Emmett Silk did that for Emmett Silk.
Okay.
He doesn't care about Y'shtola. He doesn't care about us. He did that for himself. Everything he does is for himself. Emmett Silk you can almost view as a god, like a Grecian god kind of god, more than any of the characters in this game. He's immortal. He's playing with his little puppets and seeing how to make them dance and what happens when he does what. Oh, you tried playing with your puppets by fighting against them? What happens if I play with my puppets and say, hey, puppets, we're on the same team. Let's see what happens then. And then if that doesn't work out, then I'm going to kill my puppets. Like,
so you don't think there's any validity to what he was saying, that he's just going to observe and maybe there is some way we can work together?
no, I think he meant that. He did mean that because he's like a scientist with his experiments. Okay, we've got these little people, these little mice that we've been doing with. We've tried it this way 6 times. It hasn't worked. So what if I try it this way? It might actually work differently. Let's see. That's what he's doing. We are insignificant to him. We aren't entirely people to him. I don't think we've gotten to that in the story yet. So I can't jump ahead because now I'm jumping ahead on where we are. No, we are essentially a science experiment to him. So he means everything he's saying at that moment. It doesn't mean he'll mean it 30 seconds from now.
Yeah, I will say I really liked his portrayal in this part. He did it. And he asked for a thanks too. He was like waiting for that thanks.
Yeah.
He's like, come on. Give me my due. Give me my
I
due.
did good.
And then we started to get a little lippy with him, and he's like, yeah, how about you just be quiet now and I'm going to go. Like,
Because I don't need to deal with your bullshit, children.
all right, so moving on. Once again, after we defeat the Sin Eater, we absorb the light it gives off, and the night sky is returned to the zone. As everyone is looking up at the sky, Y'shtola asks Urian J to describe it to her. And in true form, Urian J waxes poetic, describes it with way more words than are necessary. A fluffy douche, as Avi would put it.
Yeah, you didn't deliver that right. It's cool.
Okay.
Urian J describes it with way more words than are necessary. Fluffy douche. That's how I wrote that. That's cool.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
I questioned this a bit.
Uh-huh.
I know Yeesh doesn't quite see like we do. She sees Aether, but she's seen what a night sky looks like previously.
Right.
Not to mention that she probably saw changes that were at least equally dramatic to what we saw. Like, she saw those changes in the Aether,
yeah.
in the like composition of whatever she sees. There had to be a massive fucking change.
Because it was Aether that was affecting it, essentially.
Yeah. So,
like, but then later and other times you see her reading pages and like reading a book, and I'm like, where's the Aether in the book? If you can't see the night sky, how are you able to read the pages in this book?
yeah, and we're about to get to that. The reason that I say I think she can see the Aether of this, like, I think she can see the Aether of the stars.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
And the reason
because the stars are dying planets.
And
that's
like,
what they are.
We're walking out of the Ravel. We pass some murals, which you just
farting planets, right?
That you just alluded to, and
this is different. Like, there's been other times I've seen her read pages.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you go back and look, there's plenty of times where, like,
you did it again. See, you made it look like I'm spoiling a thing when I wasn't spoiling a thing. I was referring to something completely different. You're like, we haven't got there yet.
You gotta be more accurate, baby.
I was being accurate. You need to stop assuming I'm talking about stuff in the future. That's how you made me look like a jerk last time.
Makes an ass of Avi.
Obviously. Oh.
But yeah, she can see these perfectly.
Wait, KK saying, Pete, you're an alchemist, must have known about enchanted ink. So you're going to assume that every single thing she's read has been written in enchanted ink, KK? That is a stretch. It's inconsistent. Come on, guys.
Bees is in chat and says, I think she can still see, right?
Yes.
It's just the Aether is everywhere, so she can't see through it. That's not how I got it. I got that she sees the Aether instead of...
She sees as Aether. Aether is
like
what she sees.
She couldn't distinguish that was us. She thought we were a Sin Eater.
Because our Aether is messed up.
Yeah.
But then she also can't see the sky because why?
Well, apparently she can't see the stars. Like, she wants Urianger to describe it. Maybe she just wants him to describe it because she remembers, but she wants to hear him describe it in his silky voice.
And his must needs.
With him flexing his
and it
arms.
must needs with his must needs. It's a drinking game, by the way. You play MSQ, you got to take a shot every time Urianger says must needs.
So, yeah. It was a little bit distracting because I think that, like, when we eventually get to his own called the Tempest, there's something else she did there that I was like, come on, she just had Urianger describe the stars to her, and now she can fucking see this.
Yeah.
So that took me out of a little bit of the story, but still, that I consider that a nitpick. I might talk about it, I might be annoyed about it, but it didn't by any means ruin the story. For
no,
me
it feels inconsistent, and that I don't like. So, you're gonna have to continue on, Pete, because you've ranted a bit. I don't know where you want to pick up in the outline.
Yeah, as we walk by these murals, which she's able to discern that what they were painted with were with ancient minerals, so she knows that these paintings are very old.
Okay, so after the sky scene thing, then we walk into a cave that has these murals.
We're like walking out of the ravel, and we see these murals.
Okay, I was like, you didn't set the stage.
And we're discussing what these murals depict. When our old friend Emmett Selk strolls on up.
I love how he
complaining
walks
about
up.
having to walk everywhere.
I love him. According to Emmett, the murals depict Ascian history, his history. While facing a calamity, it was the Ascians that summoned Zodiark through their prayers. While the summoning of Zodiark was able to stave off the impending calamity, a faction of people thought Zodiark was too powerful, and with their separate prayers and sacrifices, they summoned Hydaelyn.
Our Hydaelyn.
Big shocker moment. Oh my god, you guys, this is like the teased on of the thing. Hydaelyn's not a god. We've always believed that Hydaelyn and Zodiac are gods, but he basically just described how we summon primals, and he confirms it. So now the question is, do we have free will, or are we servants? Have we just been enthralled this entire time?
And that's if you're taking Emmett Selk at his face value.
Right.
Because this is just his recounting. We don't even know if he's being honest with us. He's could be just trying to play us.
Well, there's always 3 truths to every situation. You never heard that?
No.
Mine, yours, and what actually happened.
Okay.
So there's Emmett's truth, there's someone else's truth, and I actually do believe he's being completely honest. Chat saying that as well, but I also believe it's his truth, which doesn't mean it's the full truth. That was my point with there's always 3 truths.
So whose truth would we need?
So as someone who summoned Hydaelyn.
We don't even know if there's any of them left, do we?
No, we don't. But that's what we would need, is we would need someone who summoned Hydaelyn's truth.
Any Ascian that we know seems to be working on the side of Zodiark.
Mm-hmm.
So we could get La Habrea's opinion. He didn't summon Hydaelyn, but he could confirm.
Chili's saying that it means that Lava Scorpion is the one true god. And honestly, Chili did like a coffee emote, and that's what made me look up and see that.
But as of now, like, we wouldn't really have any god at all, right? Like, we can't point to anything as would be the god.
No, primals are gods. That almost lessens Hydaelyn.
But so we don't know what created the Ascians. The Ascians were kind of just always there, as far as we know.
I mean, it was always kind of. People are probably gonna get mad at me saying this. It was kind of wrong, I guess I'll just say, for us to look at these other people who are summoning primals. I get that the summoning primals are wrong, but by saying your god is wrong, our god is right, and then to find out that our god is a primal and our god is the same as all your gods, and we're basically pushing our beliefs on everyone else, which is what happens in the world. But it's also what's happening in Eorzea. So, I mean, I get that the summoning of primals is not good.
We
but
definitely have a lot of blood on our hands. Let's say that.
Yeah. Like, it's just like angels, if you read the Bible. Like, angels are not like, oh, I'm so nice. No, they're freaking mass destruction. Like, they're the wrath of God. But I just definitely... It kind of makes you look back.
You can point to the flood for that, too. I mean, that's a direct...
Right. Well, like, everything that we have done in the game, in the story, is... for Hydaelyn, essentially. And Hydaelyn is a primal who tells us that the other primals are bad. And I'm very loosely...
We've just been a religious zealot this whole time.
Exactly. And for not even a god, a true god. Our true god isn't a true god.
And we see that reflected in Ardbert as well. who did basically the same thing we're doing.
Yes. KK is asking whether or not Hydaelyn and Zodiac drain Aether, and that will be if it costs Aether to summon them. It did cost lives to summon them, KK. So they sacrificed themselves. It took half the population to summon Zodiac and half the population to summon Hydaelyn. In my interpretation, that is a form of Aether. So I would say yes. Yeah.
Lawyered.
Yeah. So, what is a god to a non-believer? Actually, that's a whole other level.
Greenleaf minute.
But this is like, I don't know. I guess I kind of just really started thinking about this in this conversation, and I don't like it. I really don't.
It's one of those things where it's just like, don't think about it too hard for your own sanity.
Yeah, I really don't like everything we've been doing. We're the big bad Christianity at this point.
So
if you view it that way, I'm not saying Christianity is bad, by the way. I'm just people who believe their religion is better than other religions. I'm not a fan of that, and Christianity tends to be the most common religion.
Depends where you are.
Yeah, I suppose. In the United States.
Emmett Selk continues to describe the battle between Zodiac and Hydaelyn and informs us that, in the end, Hydaelyn got the best of Zodiac and shattered him and the world into 13 shards. With this story, we finally understand why the Ascians are doing the things they do.
It was about time we got some humanized the Ascians, because we're just the bad guy. We don't like you, die. And now we know, no, we think we're the good guy. We think you're the bad guy, which makes the best villain.
Expand on why they're doing this, which is to bring about the rejoining. They believe once they rejoin all 13 shards, they'll have their Eden again, to be another parallel.
Essentially, yeah. There's a lot of parallels.
They believe it'll be perfection again, because that's how they viewed it when it was just them, and they have immortality.
Ooh, see, V just backed up my argument about Christianity. I appreciate that. Thank you, V.
I don't know enough to get into a religious war.
They said, no, Christianity is a religion that has historically tried to force its own beliefs on people across the world to the widest number of people. Like, the reason Christmas is a Christian holiday is because it was the winter solstice, and it was a way to slowly bring Christianity into the lives of the pagans. Like, it's absorbed other elements to make it spread, essentially.
I don't know. I watched the entire history of the world, and there were a lot of religions that spread pretty damn far.
Sounds like we're talking about viruses. But anyways, I find it interesting. I'm not trying to talk shit. Again, it's history is really cool.
And like I said, he comes across as quite sincere. I thought it was very well acted by the voice actor. And I will say, at times, Emmett Selk has had some kind of weird Johnny Deppish as Jack Sparrow features.
Yes, yeah, he definitely is a Johnny Depp thing.
It was very somber in this one. It felt like he was sincere. It felt like he was almost sad while he was describing
it felt genuine.
What happened.
Yeah, it felt genuine.
But like we said, it's only his side of the story.
I feel like his being genuine in his beliefs and that he's doing the right thing, it makes him a better villain. Because the best villains don't believe they're villains.
Oh yeah, that's definitely true. So, after the big bomb, I wish we had a bong shell right now. After the big bombshell of a backstory, we exit the Ravel and continue on to wrap up everything in the Great Wood. We've made sure that the Yulmoran army has fully retreated and that everyone that was poisoned has made a full recovery.
However,
before we leave, Y'shtola wants to talk.
I feel like you need to say, Y'shtola wants to talk. Like, uh-oh.
Somebody's
in trouble.
Anytime she wants to talk to me, I'm all for it.
Yes. Oh, okay.
She finally lets us know that dick Urianger has been too cowardly to tell us. We find out that she thinks we are fully absorbing the light. It's not that it's being dissipated through with Hydaelyn's blessing or anything like that. It's that it's staying inside of us. She thinks it could just be a matter of time before it overtakes us and we become corrupted and become some sort of sin eater. And good on her for choosing to have the tough conversations with us.
That's because she's a badass bitch.
We all know that phony Urianger is not going to do it.
It's not that Urianger's phony. It's that Urianger's a liar.
He's a little bitch boy.
He's a liar. He doesn't, and that's been his character the whole time. It's why we don't trust Urianger. He lies to people to protect them, and I don't like people like that. I don't trust people like that.
I'm about to make a big statement.
Oh, no. One of those episodes, it seems.
I liked Alice's brother
What?
more than Urian J this expansion.
What? Who are you?
Mic drop.
I liked Urian J's arms. That's about it.
I wish Urian J would fall in a sinkhole.
But I do have to say, I still think that Urian J, like the developers don't really love him. He still has never gotten a custom outfit. His custom outfit is the Astrologian's Shadowbringers outfit. He still hasn't gotten anything custom. He still has gotten multiple custom outfits, multiple minions, and he's still like, oh no, you're just gonna get this Astrologian one, and we're gonna throw some lore at you as to why you got it. Oh, it's the most efficient because you're now an Astro. Like, ooh, he doesn't even warrant his own outfit.
A couple things in chat. Nessa says Alice's brother is the best scion. My trash son. And Chili says, oh god, I'm going on deck now just to say no.
Oh, all right. Here comes Chili.
So we got Chili coming into chat. How
Chili's
are you doing?
arguing.
How are you doing tonight, Chili?
I'm
not too bad, thank you. How about you?
We're doing pretty well. So why do you like Urian J so much this patch?
I mean,
Come on, you
I thought you were coming in
you
fighting.
called in to say no. Give us that take.
I actually laughed a few times with him on screen, and I don't mind his dialogue, to be honest.
You've
not
never
the
tried to
worst.
stream it
That's
and read
because
it out loud.
You fuckers over there sound just like him.
Aw.
Oh yeah, because you've met me, and I'm and Chili and his
You're basically
talk so much
Urian
like
J.
him. Yeah, basically him. I mean, like when he threw cards at an enemy to try and beat it, I just like that's something Yu-Gi-Oh would do. And I
Right?
like it.
That was fun. I laughed at that too. I was like, oh yeah, okay.
I mean, you can't hate him.
Oh, I can
You
hate
might hate
him.
his dialogue, but
well, I mean, if you
I
don't
I
like,
hate that he's such a liar, dude.
I don't like that he's a liar.
Are you really so dumb you can't like explain yourself? Like you're one of our best friends. You have to believe that we're going to be able to see your point. If this is truly for the greater good, you have to be able to explain it. You shouldn't have to try to trick us.
well, wasn't he told to not tell us?
Yeah, but fuck Crystal Exarch. Why is he going to believe the Crystal Exarch over us?
True.
I mean, he pulled us into another dimension. I'd be, yeah, sure. I won't tell anyone. Please don't kill me, wizard that can rip my soul from my body.
I still don't quite get how they might be at risk of dying there. I don't know if that was ever explained, and I just can't remember.
What?
Well, we've got
Because their bodies aren't really there, just their soul, but their souls have, like, taken over a body that looks just like theirs somehow. I don't really know.
It's like no, they said it was like a
temporary physical body.
Yeah, it's a temporary physical.
Okay.
It's not a body in the world they've taken over. It's their own body.
Maybe
Yeah.
the key to getting back is just dying.
Maybe. I don't
I
know.
mean, technically, that's how the Warriors of Darkness transferred from one
Yeah.
world to the other. So,
All right, I solved 5.1.
oh come on, B. That's more like 5.3.
Yeah, they're going to stretch it out as long as they can.
Oh yeah, this next one's gonna be all Garlemald.
Yeah.
All right, Chili, do you have anything else to add about what we talked about so far? How are you liking Emmett Selk's character so far?
He's probably one of my favorite villains so far in the expansions.
Yeah, he's my favorite by
Out
far.
of all of the expansions?
Yes.
Yeah. And I want to say more. It's hard to call him a villain, more like an anti-hero.
Get you getting
in my
all
opinion.
It's like you said earlier, the
Semantics.
villains don't know they're villains. He's a villain to us,
Yeah.
but I think by now, or maybe
I mean-
not quite by now, but at the end of Shadowbringers, you definitely see his point of
He's
view.
a bad guy. He's just not a black and white bad guy,
We're
which the
starting-
best bad guys are kind of gray.
This is the first time that we actually think we know his motivation. Anyways,
Yeah.
he's trying to bring back what he used to have.
That is his motivation. He
Yeah.
tells us his motivation.
Oh, I say we believe because we don't know if he's telling the truth or not.
We
But
believe because it
Yeah.
makes sense with everything he's done and everything he's said. It's like, okay.
But then we're kind of
Yeah.
also like, well, why is he just going with the flow instead of trying to thwart us?
See, I didn't think
Well-
that. Go ahead, Chili. Sorry, we keep talking over you.
I don't want to answer really because I feel like we kind of know by the end of the expansion why he
Yeah. Well, it's
doesn't want to stop us.
we're his little test mice. Like he wants to see what happens with the
Not just
choices
that,
we're
but-
giving.
not just that, but because our past connection with him.
Mm-hmm. We're not there yet. It's so
Yeah,
hard
no,
to talk
that's
about
why I
this
can't
and
say
not be
anything.
there yet. Like to go through it like this. It's like I want to talk
It's
about
hard
this
to
other
talk
thing.
about the character because we know more about
We
him,
know
but we
too
can't talk
much.
about it yet.
Yes.
Yeah, we originally thought we were going to get through this a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And then, like, every time we go back and discuss it, we're like, well, we kind of want to talk about that.
And talk about that and that. So
it's taken a little while.
yeah, but I hopefully everybody's been enjoying it because I know everybody really enjoyed this story. So it's been fun to have like this really long conversation about it. I don't know. Pete's reading. Chili's ignoring me.
I was waiting for Chili to answer.
I'm like,
He's like, nah, I hate it, bro. So yeah, anything else to add tonight, Chili? Any shout outs
Nothing,
you want to
that's
give?
it.
Thank you for calling in.
I just want to say no to Alpha Node being good.
I don't even know that
Bye.
name. I only know LSA's brother.
Hey, Chili left.
Oh, he didn't give any shout outs.
No, he didn't.
Shout out Moogle Go Round Radio.
You sounded so depressed when you just said that.
I was sad that he left and didn't shout him out himself.
Moogle Go Round Radio.
Shout out Moogle Go Round.
Moogle Go Round.
All right. So, yeah. So Y'shtola had the tough conversation with us telling us that she believes that we're at risk at becoming a Sin Eater. And that good-for-nothing Urian J is just using us, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, after the serious talk time, we bid farewell to the Ratika Greatwood and head back to the Crystarium. And I've got the beer burps. We get there and see that the Crystal Exarch and Alisae's brother are back from Calusia. But everyone is tired, so we head to our apartment to rest and to have a little ghost time with Ardberg, if you know what I mean.
Sandwiches.
Making a little pottery.
Sandwiches.
He heard everything that Y'shtola told us.
Of course.
But he doesn't think we look any different. Like, how the fuck would he know? Like, okay. He doesn't think we look any different. That means nothing to me. But he doesn't say much at this meeting. Mostly just a lot of, do the best for your friends, trust in them, and they will do the same for you. But I think they pretty much just kept this meeting quick because stuff is about to go down. But before we get to the stuff going down, we fade to black.
Meanwhile, in Garlemald, we cut to a snowy evening in Garlemald. I'm laughing now at a super serious scene where Estinian and Gaius are having
super serious.
a conversation under a lamppost.
I found it unnecessary.
They were acting very serious. They comment that the battle is at a stalemate, but that no one wants it to last too long. And then they hint at the use of Black Rose by the Empire. Then they talk some more spy stuff with, like, troubling intelligence. One of the Alamegan generals disappeared from the battlefield in Gimelt Dark. Who do you think it is, Pete? You know who it is. It's Xenos. It's freaking Xenos. We knew that.
That's what I was going to guess. You didn't give me time.
We already knew that because we, as a Final Fantasy XIV community, are super smart. And next, Square Enix...
Unless you believed Y'shtola was dead.
They do not. You're not part of that. Sorry, hun. Love you. Mean it. Bye. Next, Square Enix goes on to confirm that it is Xenos with, some monologuing
about that. I know it now.
to himself again. We cut back to the inn where you wake up fully dressed, like you do, to hear some alarming background music. So, uh-oh. What's going on?
I would never wake up fully dressed.
No, you do not. Looks like we've slept through quite the commotion. Those are actually the words from the story. The Sin Eaters are en route to the Crystarium, so it is up to us to help enable various apparatuses around the city to help ensure that the Crystal Exarch can extend a protective barrier around the city. And of course, like all good storytelling, we get this done just in time. As soon as the barrier is up, the Sin Eaters start bashing their heads into it. It was pretty funny. Not funny, but
And a big shout out right now to Sly, aka Gray Fox, for just hosting the stream for 47 viewers.
Aw, thank you for the host.
Thank you so much. We're in the middle of recapping some MSQ right now.
Yep.
So anyone that might have joined right now, if you are not up to date with the Shadowbringers MSQ, we're going through a solo Lakeland instance that we're about to get to.
A little spoilery, but it's like dated spoilers, so you should know.
After the Ratika Greatwood.
Yes, let me do.
Hey, I just wanted to give people fair warning.
Let me do.
You know how people get with spoilers.
So unfortunately, this barrier that we have put up only protects the Crystarium. So this is when we head out to Lakeland to protect the civilians in the area.
Oh, Ian Show says, Lahi. which I still can't say. My voice breaks
Cracks
every time.
Every time. It's amazing. So Lakeland starts us out on our next instance experience. We see Sin Eaters attacking people all up Lakeland, where we are joined by Alice and Alphino. We start fighting our way up the path. They do a wonderful job throughout this entire cutscene with us, where you see battles going on in the foreground, in the background. You definitely get like this feeling of chaos where you're trying to help, but you obviously cannot help everyone there. So you have to just continue pushing forward and help those who you can. And we continue to make our way up to Y'shtola, Urianger, Minfilia, and Thancred. Then we run some more. We kill some more. And once we make it to the top of the hill, we fight a lot more Sin Eaters. After defeating the last of the Sin Eaters in battle, we see Minfilia run to aid Lena, who is just shouted out in pain. And Lena comments that they turned on her. And what she means is that actually her soldiers turned into Sin Eaters and then attacked her, which is terrifying. Thancred comes in and fights a big old Sin Eater, protecting Lena and Minfilia, which honestly I did not like because it was a save the princess moment, and Minfilia and Lena are two badass chicks, and I didn't like that they had to send a man in to save them personally.
So my problem with this is I can accept the Lena part because Lena was hurt.
She was injured, yes.
But Minfilia, this is the exact same skin of the Sin Eater that she killed in the Ratika Greatwood on her own with us.
Yeah, on her own. But now we need Thancred to come in with the big bad and save us. And anybody on chat, I just spilled drink down my shirt. It was awesome. I didn't like that. I don't like that. I feel like that's Thancred's role often, is to be the guy who comes in and saves. And I don't think that our female characters need the guy to come in and save them. And I think they've proven that time and time again. And it gets on my nerves. Thancred gets on my nerves. He's... So anyways, we cut away to see more battles between Sin Eaters and soldiers, which leads to another bit of story that has a whole lot of feels. So warning guys, feelings coming forward. We see Ardbert watching the chaos of the battle, where he sees two injured soldiers and tries to warn them as a Sin Eater creeps up behind them. Obviously, they can't hear him. One of the soldiers is comforting the other by stating, "The Warrior of Darkness has returned. The Bloody Knight has returned. You can't go dying now." The Sin Eater continues to creep. Ardbert runs up in all his fury, trying to save these two soldiers, and he's praying that he will somehow be able to do something. He charges at the Sin Eater and goes right through her. Then the Sin Eater makes it to the injured soldiers, and the screen cuts away to Ardbert's face as we hear the soldiers' dying screams. Even rewatching this scene, I got a bit choked up. I even had a little bit of goosebumps as I just reread all of that. And at this point, Ardbert proclaims, "Why did you spare me? Why? What have I done to deserve this mercy?" It's not a mercy. It's hell. He's in hell. He's someone who wants to help other people. He's someone who wants to be there to protect and fight for people, and it's the one thing he can't do. And
this was like the absolute worst time for the computer to go down again, because like it's such an emotional scene.
Yeah.
It's the feeling of powerlessness, which is so freaking awful, because a lot of times in our lives, even in real life, you might seem powerless, but in reality, there's always something you can do, even if you can't realize it at the moment.
Yeah.
But in this moment, Ardbert is 100%
truly powerless.
Totally powerless.
At no fault of his own. It's not like this was done to him. This is something that he just has to kind of live with and go through, and it was super powerful. This is one of my probably top 4 or 5 favorite scenes in Shadowbringers, was this scene.
Probably top 2, 3 for me.
I would say that, but then I feel like I'm gonna forget a scene, so I'm just gonna say top 5. I just you really felt for him. You really felt for him because he tried so hard to save them, and yeah, it was very powerful, very well done. And this is actually where we are ending the MSQ recap for this week's podcast. We still have more of the podcast to go, and the stream is nowhere near over. But yeah. So, anything else you want to add, Pete?
Just with all the shutdowns, I have no idea if we're on schedule, if we're over schedule, or under schedule.
We're running late. It's okay.
But it's time for the Community Roundup, partner.
So this week's Community Roundup is one of my best friends. And we don't do it very often, but it's HyperPixieGaming. She is having her first streamaversary this weekend, and I'm going to be joining her actually tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is Saturday, August 24th. We're going to look back on clips from this past year. Honestly, more than any other streamer I know, she has made so many jumps and bounds. She started with no camera. She started playing on the ground. She started on a PS4, and then now she's got like this awesome PC setup, and it's just been really fun to like watch her kind of go through everything and experience all of this. And then her primary streaming game is Elder Scrolls Online, ESO, which she'll be running with actually the Lore Seekers podcast after she and I hang out a bit. One thing, I told her that I was actually going to talk about her in the Community Roundup, and she's like, oh my God, you're going to make me cry. Because 1 year ago, this podcast, essentially, she called into our Community Roundup to like talk about what she was going to do, and then she did her very first stream.
And I believe this was on a recommendation of
Galka.
Yeah, Savage Ailstorm, aka Dalton. So
Yeah.
Shout out Dalton for recommending HyperPixie reach out to us.
Yeah, and now she's one of my best friends. So, but it was really sweet. I'm really excited for her. She's been doing it for a year, and she's just awesome and having a ton of fun.
So check out her stream, and now we get to some listener reaction.
Also, which, by the way, sorry, I should just say this. So as soon as the podcast ends here, HyperPixie and I do a stream together, and we're going to be playing Don't Starve together, which is ridiculous because we die a lot. We're horrible at it, and she's only played it the one time, so it's
usually
really
it's an MMO stream, either Final Fantasy 14 or ESO, depending on the week. Usually it alternates, but they're playing a little bit of Don't Starve, changing it up.
We're playing other games.
So listener reaction, we have Rathok, who says, thank you for the chill night, y'all. Our tooling has become quite the puzzle. We'll try out the workaround to get to the parts printed for next week. For tonight, though, pass the party on over to She Heals I Tank for some Final Fantasy 14. Have a great Tuesday, y'all. So thank you for that raid, Rathok.
And at MGR Chili from Moogle Go Round says, I had fun running content with She Heals I Tank tonight. Remember to check them out tomorrow where Pete streams The Savages. Also, Friday is podcast day. Then Sunday, Pete will be streaming Final Fantasy 9 for his first playthrough ever.
Just started Final Fantasy 9. I'm about 4 hours in, so join me on Sunday. And Edge Odinblast says, I love the jump puzzles in Final Fantasy XIV. They give a feeling of nostalgia. Finding a glitch and reaching somewhere you shouldn't, it just doesn't feel quite right, and I love it for that. An unforgiving, teeth-clenching challenge like games of old.
And finally, at Ace Kaneki says, I ate the Impossible Whopper today for lunch, and I thought of you, Vegan Pete, at Shields I Tank. Probably will never eat another regular burger from Burger King again.
I hear it's good. I haven't had that one yet, but I have had the Beyond Burger from
He's
Carl's
had a
Jr.
lot of Impossible Burgers. All right, Pete, anything else you want to add?
I think that is it.
All right, so on that note, that is going to be it for this episode. As always, we've enjoyed hanging out with all of you live here on Twitch. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Be sure to hit that follow button so you know the next time we will be going live. And a great big thank you to everyone listening to the podcast through iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, and that app that came out yesterday that I don't know about yet. But you really are the reason we keep making episodes. And remember, wherever you do listen, it would mean a whole shit ton to us if you gave our little tiny shit podcast a rating or a review, or, tell a friend to check us out. Here with Vegan Pete, I'm Avi Ale, and we will talk to you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.